Rescuers get call about starving puppy. Give him transformation. There was a pit bull puppy found by a gutter on the side of the road in Washington, D.C. When people first noticed him, it didn't look like he was going to make it. In fact, it didn't even look like he was living at first. They immediately called someone to help him. By the time rescuers got there, they estimated that they only had minutes to get him to an emergency animal hospital before it was too late. He was that close to death. They rushed him to the hospital just in time. Not an easy life. When he arrived, the veterinarians weighed him and discovered that the puppy was only 15 pounds, when he should have weighed between 35 and 45 pounds. He was significantly malnourished, and you could see every single one of his ribs beneath his bruised skin. What he'd been through had clearly been absolutely terrible. He was in rough shape. The puppy had to spend 3 days in the hospital before they were able to release him to a very experienced animal foster home. He still had a lot of recovering to do. Finding kindness. When he arrived at the house, he was still in bad shape. He might have been physically doing a little better, but it was obvious that he'd been through a lot emotionally. His ears were droopy, and he seemed genuinely sad about life. However, by his third or fourth day, he began to perk up. His tail was starting to wag, his ears had lifted a little bit higher, and he was beginning to become active and making progress. At first, he wouldn't take more than a few shaky steps outdoors before becoming tired. He also had difficulty keeping his balance. However, as the weeks went on, he was able to walk further. Eventually, he'd make it to the end of the block. After that, he was able to make it all the way around the block. He was even starting to be able to keep up with the older Rottweiler who lived in the house. He also started playing. He wanted to play with people in the house. He wanted to play with the other dog. He loved toys. He really just wanted to play. He was turning into a happy puppy who was thrilled with life. A lot had changed for him in only a few weeks, and he was taking full advantage of it. The once tiny and timid dog was now full of life and energy. And finding a home. After a month, his fur had grown in, he'd taken a substantial amount of weight, and he didn't even look like the dog he had been when he was taken from the side of the road. He was ready to find his forever home and be adopted. That's where Megan came in. The instant she saw him, she saw all the love that he had to give, and she knew she needed to give him a home that would give him that same level of love in return. And now he lives with her in her home, with 2 other dogs who love to play as much as he does. It's puppy bliss.